Sean, you and I are fortunate to be employed right now,
Yeah,
and many people have been either laid off or they are living with this fear that they are going to lose their jobs. It's a perfect time to think about how you can connect personally with your organization and also stand out. And today
absolutely.
we have a global corporate trainer and communications coach joining us with a few tips.
Absolutely. He is Stephen Krempel, is the CEO of Krempel Communications. He's also the author of the #1 international bestseller, The 5% Zone Visibility Strategies that will get you recognized and rewarded in any organization. Stephen, it's great having you. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me, Sean and JJ.
I think we've all been there at one point in our career where we're saying to ourselves, I want to, I think I'm doing good work around here. I don't feel like it might be being recognized. I don't think anyone notices. How do I get noticed? This is the 5% zone. Why is it so important to your career?
Okay, so think about it as two numbers, right? 95 and 5. 95% of the time, you can be who you are. This is when you're dealing with your team, your peers, maybe even your subordinates. However, 5% of the time, this is when we define as you're in the presence of people at least two levels above you or higher in the organization. How you act in your 95% of the time is not the same as how you act in your 5% of the time. So let me give you an example though. Let's say you have a team meeting, it's 2 hours, right? You're trying to solve some problems, and now you're going to go to Sean, your supervisor, and tell him about it. Sean's probably going to give me half an hour though. But then Sean says, I got to go to my manager, JJ, and she goes, I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Tell me what you're. So you went from a 2 hour meeting to a half an hour to 10 minutes. How you communicate in those three times are totally different.
Wow, this is fascinating. And thank you for making me the manager.
That's
I
right.
have to say also, Stephen, I will tell you, I resonate with what you're saying. And that 5% of the time is when I get a little bit nervous. Because
That's right.
these are key interactions, honestly, with our organizations. You have a few opportunities, five, in fact, that you say people should be aware that they can take advantage of. What are those?
That's right. We say there are really only five situations that your senior managers, in this case you, JJ, will either see me or hear me, though. So let me lay them out. One is the one on one meeting that we have with each other. The team meeting, this is either the small team meeting or the large town hall that you may have in the organization.
Mhm.
The third one is the conference call. The fourth one is the business presentation. And the fifth one is the company social. They don't know if you came in at 7:30 in the morning, and they don't even know if you left at 9:30 that night in the evening. They only remember your name and go back to the times. How was Stephen at the one-on-one? How was he at the meeting? Did he say anything at the conference call? How was his presentation? And was he hiding in the corner in the company social? So those are the five situations, and it's really obvious, but people don't think about it that way.
Yeah, no, I've been the one hiding in the corner of pretty much every social in my life. The
Oh,
dances,
come on.
school,
Come
everything,
on.
everything. So okay, what are 5 ways then that we can stand out? Healthy ways we can stand out. Obviously, there's a lot of ways to stand out in a bad way.
Sure. So the first thing, Sean, is you have to realize that there's a 95 and a 5. Okay. So how you act in your 5% is very different. Here's where people shoot themselves in the foot. They use this word, well, Stephen, I have to be authentic. So I have to be 100% the same all the time. Well, probably not, because in those 5% situations, the manager, JJ, wants you to get to the point, right? Give me solutions, and I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah,
So that's not the same way you do when you have 2 hours, lolling around talking to your team to solve the problem. So
yeah,
that's one. So you have to understand that. The second one is you have to decide if you want to be just good or you want to be great. And if you haven't decided that, then good is just enough. So you're not going to go out of your way to do anything special in those situations to stand out. All right. It's a very clear thing. You have to decide to stand out. And many people don't want to stand out. So you have to decide. The third thing, you have to understand the rules of the game. And may sound a little odd to people, but you really have to understand the rules of the game because in some organizations, the managers act in different ways. Some managers prefer to have meetings where they talk all the time and you listen. Other managers like you to talk first and then they will summarize and talk at the end of the meeting. Now, what happens if you're like Sean, who likes to talk all the time? Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but he talks
You
all
hire
the
this
time.
guy, JJ.
I love this guy.
I love this guy. If Sean goes to the second meeting, he's okay because they want people to talk. But if he goes to the first manager, he's not going to be liked because he's cutting in trying to talk, right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand the rules of the game. It's very simple, but sometimes not easy.
Mm.
The fourth one was it's called, we have to create a green X. And a green X is something that people remember about you when your name comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you lead a project? Did you ask a really key question in a meeting? Were you the one that volunteered to do something that nobody else wanted to do? And that's one of the things that you have to do. And the fifth one is actually, we call being positive. Now, we make a distinction between negative, neutral, and positive. Most senior managers want you to be on the positive side. Don't bring me the problems that we talked about in your 2-hour meeting. When you go to Sean Yu, I changed those problems to, we have a couple of issues, right? So I changed the word problem to issue. And then when I go to JJ, I say, hey, JJ, we have a couple of tweaks. We can solve the customer's problem. So now we went from problems to issues to tweaks. But that's what JJ is listening, because she wants somebody to solve problems, not complain about them, but to help solve them, right?
God, I'm so good at
those are kind of the 5 things.
Solve it, and as quickly as possible. Stephen, Sean and I are both absolutely delighted. You are such an intelligent person. I believe that you're an author because you have an amazing library behind you. Listen, we've run out of time, but we know you have a special offer today for people who can get a hold of your book. What's your special offer?
That's right. Anybody on your show watching it, go to www.winningintheworkworld.com. So that's winningintheworkworld.com. On the page, just give me your name and email, and you get an ebook copy free because you're on the show.
Awesome. Simple as that. Sir, it's great having you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Some great advice for you. And if you would like to get the book for yourself, winningintheworkworld.com, you can pick up that ebook for absolutely free. Bestseller Publishing, a proud sponsor of The Morning Blend.